So you may be wondering why I'm starting off with storage. Well, I actually think that storage is one of the most important aspects of a computer when you're talking about performance. This may sound a bit weird because isn't storage just for storing stuff on a computer? Well, actually, the type of storage that you get can make a big difference, and getting the wrong type can make a computer a lot slower than it could otherwise be. And that's because HDDs or hard disk drives are a lot slower than SSDs. And getting an SSD, I feel, is very important when you get a computer. So, HDDs or hard disk drives have a magnetic head that has to physically move around from point to point, which slows things down a lot. This can take a lot longer than an SSD, which has no moving parts, and stuff can basically just be retrieved instantly from it. So for the boot drive, or the drive that runs your operating system, which is basically everything that you see when you switch on a computer, I definitely recommend using an SSD. I've used both a hard disk drive and an SSD for storing the operating system, and the difference is really night and day. But when you go into looking at SSDs, there's actually three different types of SSDs, with two of them looking very similar and one of them looking kind of more similar to a hard disk drive. There's a SATA 2.5 inch drive, there's the M.2 SATA drives, and then there's the NVMe M.2 drives. So up until recently, I would have recommended going with the 2.5 inch drives, but having looked at Amazon recently, the M.2 NVMe drives actually look to be very similar in price to the SATA drives, so I'd honestly recommend going for those. NVMe drives are so much faster than regular SATA drives that you may not notice a difference day to day, but it will make switching on your computer that much faster. From what I've seen, it's not as big of a difference as moving from a HDD to an SSD, but the difference is still there. And if you are able to get an NVMe drive for around the same price as a 2.5-inch SATA drive, and your motherboard supports it, as I said, then I would definitely recommend going for one. But when getting one, do look out for whether it says that it's an NVMe drive or a SATA drive, because both of these use the M.2 standards and both look exactly the same basically, but on the packaging somewhere it should mention NVMe. And if you're building a computer and you've got full control over what goes in it, then I would recommend actually not getting a massive NVMe drive and instead getting a small one, for example, a 256 gigabyte one or even a 128 gigabyte one, and then pairing it with a HDD. Because as long as your operating system is on the NVMe drive, all of the operating system's going to run fast, the computer's going to start up fast, and everything's going to be nice and smooth. But files such as pictures and videos and even games, if you're not too bothered about them loading really quickly, can be stored on the hard disk drive. As speed doesn't matter so much for them, you get a lot more storage because hard disk drives are a lot cheaper than SSDs. You'll be able to get a lot more storage in hard disk drives, so you'll be able to stretch your budget even further and maybe put some of that money towards a monitor or a graphics card or anything like that. For example, you can get a 1 terabyte hard disk drive for around £30 or $33, whereas an 1 terabyte SSD drive will be around £95 or $100. So as you can see, there is a big difference. As for what size of hard disk drive you should get, I would recommend looking at your current computer, seeing how much storage you're using at the moment, and maybe getting a bit extra if you don't plan to upgrade further down the line. And yeah, get based on that. I do think that 1 terabyte in a hard drive is cheap enough that it's a good idea just to go for that. So if you do need more storage in the future, you don't need to be adding extra drives on top of the 1 terabyte hard drive. But if you know for sure that you're not going to need that much, you may as well go for one a bit cheaper and smaller than that. Although, really, I think the standard is 1 terabyte when it comes to a hard drive or more. If you've got any questions, please be sure to ask me down in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And to see the next video in the series, click over that way because it should be right over there. So, hope you'll have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.